So weird.
It sounds so fucking bad when you scream into the mics. Ready?
Hi guys!
Welcome to See You Saturday. Today we'll be talking about serial killers.
Also, I feel like we should put a disclaimer. Dead babies.
Right.
And, serial killer.
We're back with my trusty dusty notebook.
I tried, guys, and
I'm gonna last minute shut up.
Okay, I feel like we should tell who we're doing. I'm doing she's not very known, so hold on while I flip pages. Lizzie Holiday. I never knew about her, and I love listening to true crime documentaries. My favorite in the whole wide world is Murder Mystery Makeup Mondays or Morbid.
That's the one I watched to get my information.
Oh, I love her. I love Bailey.
She was hilarious.
Okay, I'm doing Lizzie Holiday.
I'm doing John Wayne Gacy.
I'm doing H.H. Holmes.
And
Jack the Ripper. Because a lot of people think they're the same guy, and I'll tell you why.
Fun fact.
It's my turn.
Fun fact. My story also connects to Jack the Ripper in a subtle way.
Really?
Not a lot. Lizzie Holiday, also known as Eliza Margaret McNally. First of all, I don't give a if everyone has your name wrong, you're a murderer.
We can make fun of these people. They kill people. We're good.
Yeah, there's probably 50,000 things I can't pronounce about this dude.
Okay.
I don't fucking know.
She was at the end I get pretty petty.
Oh, you're
she was born in 1859 and died June 18th, 1918. She was convicted of one but suspected of multiple, and you'll see why. It's crazy town.
I love this episode already. I'm so glad to do more.
Her trial was international news. Fun fact, she was the first woman sentenced to death.
Oh. She's the first woman serial killer?
No. But she was the first woman sentenced to death. However, she did not die via...
I told you it was going to do that.
But she did not die via sentencing to death because she's criminally insane.
She didn't die?
They didn't...
The way she was.
How did she die?
Kidney stones. Kidney disease.
God, that's
so stupid.
Okay, but don't you?
I know.
Don't you cool, bitch? But
die better.
All the crazy murderers that go to jail later on. Does she get caught pretty fast or later?
She gets caught pretty later.
Pretty later, always have something medical issue, and then they want to go to jail because
That checks out so hard. Okay.
Continue.
She was a criminal prodigy. She got away.
Sorry.
She got away with a lot more than she should have. I'm talking
probably because she was a woman in the early 1900s.
She should have been accused of being a fucking witch at this point.
No one believed.
That's so true.
Women weren't allowed to talk.
Serial killers in the 1800s and 1900s, bizarre.
Oh, absurd.
I'm surprised. You'd think later on, 2000 serial killers would be better because they get information and strategies, which don't. But, I'm surprised there hasn't been an IRL Ghostface killer.
Yeah.
There was one that tried, but he got caught pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think he was only 2 in.
Yeah, it might just be because the police had gotten
He
better.
got stuff, and then he went to go buy a costume, and he got interrogated for it. I forget what else, because he bought more stuff.
Can we appreciate how cute this hoodie is?
So fucking cute.
Hot topic!
Hi. She possibly killed her first husband.
Ooh.
But that was not her last murder.
Dun,
Dun, dun, dun! She was still a teen when she murdered him.
Oh,
His name was Charles Hopkins. He died 2 years into the marriage, which is devastating because they were still teenagers.
How old were they?
Never specified.
What did it say when they got married?
They were teens.
Yeah, it just
so they had to be 19 under.
Yeah,
correct?
I would assume. Yeah.
20.
I think in the 1800s it was you got married around 15 and 16.
It was.
So he would have been 18, I'm guessing.
Yeah, outrageous. She then got married again to
Less.
I feel so
Reach knew better than let me hear.
um
I just look over and you're both fucking dancing. Love it.
she then after he died 2 years into the marriage, she later got married again to Artemis Brewer. He died less than a year into the marriage.
Sooner than the other husband.
At least, like, try to spread it out a bit.
She then got married again.
Girl,
Does
slow
it have
down.
the timeline like of
Slow down.
when she keeps getting married? Like, does she get married right after this?
Oh yeah, right after. She gets married again with Hiram Parkinson, but he ran away because he was a smart man. Clearly, her first two husbands died. His friend, not so much. He did not run away, and they got married.
Wait, his friend dated her?
His friend got married to her.
Oh, girl.
He was named George Smith. Are we wearing the same socks? Oh no, I wore those ones yesterday.
Wait, let me see.
They're pigs.
Mine's a pigs.
Oh. You wore these yesterday.
Yes. His friend's name was George Smith. She tried to poison him with tea, but it wasn't successful. Yeah, she tried. So, it was not successful.
Is there a reason it wasn't successful, or is she just stupid?
I think she's just stupid.
Shaking it.
After that, she ran away to Bellow Falls, Vermont, and got married again.
What, for like the 200th
Yep.
time?
She got married to Charles.
Okay, so at this point, we can roll out the possibilities of the first relationship being toxic and she killed him to get out, or the second relationship just coincidentally being the same thing because she just keeps
There's a lot
getting
of people
married
fail to
and they
get-
keep dying.
Yes.
In mysterious ways, not just like a car crash or.
Yeah, like this. The third dude was fucking poisoned, and that's crazy to say. My
That's
third.
real. Keeping your hand where you are.
I capitalized again because that's her third fucking marriage. And I just want you to know, it will not be her last.
Oh my god!
She got married to Charles Plaisel. He ran away once again. Oh no, she ran away once again to Philadelphia. That's when she started going by Lizzie. Which
By Lizzie?
honestly, yes. Because honestly, at that point, almost 4 husbands deep, I would run away too. She opened a
She
shop.
should have been hung as a witch.
Literally.
Burned alive.
She opened a shop of some sort. I couldn't find what she sold or like what kind of shop it was.
It's just the shop.
However, she burned it down for insurance money.
That also seems to be a popular theme. My guy did the same thing.
Yeah.
Is she not?
I don't know, man.
God, she's literally doing it in broad daylight and just no one cares because she's a girl.
She was caught and served 2 years. When she got out, she went by Lizzie Brown. So she completely changed her last name. Because she was going by Lizzie Margaret. However, she changed her last name to Brown. Which, I don't know where she got that. If she just made it up, saw the color, was like, well, whatever. She married Paul Holiday. And that's where she gets her actual last name. Her one that she's like, she died with. She married Paul Holiday. That didn't last long. That didn't last long because she stole a bunch of horses and ran away to get married to the neighbor.
This girl.
I think we have earned the right to call her a hoe.
When that didn't work, because she was arrested, she pleaded insanity.
Oh my god.
Because she was arrested.
She was put in an insane asylum. However, Paul, her husband, got her released.
Which one?
Fucking what she's married to now that hasn't died yet.
However,
Hey, you don't know. She could have gotten married while she was in prison. The streak she's got going.
however, she gave him a present. You'll never guess what it was.
Sweet
Something to kill
afterlife.
She burned down his house, a barn, and his mill.
Girl, this is just funny at this point. What the fuck is going on?
However, the sad part
This
is
is a real girl?
the real, like,
She's like the worst kind of ex to have.
however, a sad part did occur because one of his sons passed away in the fire. but it was a present she gave him. He went missing. When
Congrats, I heard you complaining about your son, like, not listening to you earlier, so I just kind of burnt him alive.
You're welcome. So then he went missing, and then people started to question her. She told them he was
Really?
She told them he was traveling. They knew he was a liar, set things on fire. Because she keeps setting things on fucking fire.
She's a liar.
Shouts out to his fucking neighbors because they were snoopy bitches. They went snooping and found Margaret and Sarah McQuillan, who was the wife and the daughter of the neighbor she ran away with. So she murdered the wife and the daughter and ran away with the husband. So they found them under a haystack. They were
Really? She buried them under a fucking haystack. A horse could find those bodies.
because that's my quote. And they had been bound and shot and tortured. So
That
really,
sucks.
yeah, it's all
Put
fun
it
and
lightly.
games.
That sucks.
It's all fun and games until
You
like
just
there's
picked your
actual
local
fucking
spot.
like details on the murder. Like, yes,
Like, all of these poor people who died, like, we're laughing about the husbands, but, like, they were actual people.
yeah, like
I'm more laughing at her.
like
I'm laughing at her because she's a crazy bitch.
oh, it gets better. Lizzie was arrested. It doesn't get better, but it gets fucking worse. Okay, she was then arrested, and when they found the husband's body in the floorboards of his newly built house. You know, the house he built, because she burnt the other one down.
Careful choosing your ladies.
Literally. Toxic women all around.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
a bit of a red flag.
While waiting for her trial, she tried to strangle the sheriff's wife. She refused to eat, tried to hang herself, cut herself, and you guessed it, she lit her clothes and herself on fire.
She didn't die from that, though?
No?
She should have. That would have been, like, sweet, sweet victory. Wait, she tried to murder the sheriff's wife and not the sheriff?
Yeah. She had to be changed to the floor because she was such a danger to herself and others.
Look what I've done.
Well, no shit, Sherlock.
Clearly, she's strangling people left and right. Okay, here's where it connects to Jack the Ripper.
I'm really curious.
She had 2 jailhouse interviews, and the sheriff accused her of being Jack the Ripper, but there was no evidence. But timelines add up.
Really?
So, yeah. Which is crazy.
Okay, so that means there were 2 serial killers at the time Jack the Ripper was there.
There was
Could be
like 3
anyone.
or 4. And they're not really reported on. She was only convicted of She was only convicted of the murder of Sarah McQuillan, but she was sentenced to death. First woman ever. However, she was declared insane. I see it. I get it. Like, after you guys hear the story, I hope you see it as well.
I already see it.
She was a little toxic.
So she lived out her life in the Madwan State Hospital for the criminally insane. She made several escape attempts and attacked multiple workers, including Nurse Nellie Wickens. She was stabbed over 200 times with scissors, and that's not elaborated on. That really upsets me.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. She finally died in 1918 from a kidney disease.
That's so, like, pathetic. She should have burned alive.
Oh yeah, she should have been burned at the fucking stake.
She should have been fucking stabbed, tortured.
Treated like a witch.
Yes. One that interests me the absolute most is the toy box killer. Because how could you be so fucking sick in the head? You've never heard of that?
I don't think so. I
He-
might have.
Traffic sex workers. Like, and would just like put them in like this box almost. And it was like he had a homemade like. Have you ever been to the gynecologist?
No.
David Parker Ray, yes. But it
Wait,
was like
was it like the back of a truck, or am I thinking of a different serial killer?
probably the same one. But he had homemade sex toys, homemade sex torture devices. It was like he was doing the fucking most. Yes. And it scares the living shit out of me because that shit could be going on like today.
Still.
Like he had
There's a
over
fucking Barbie over there.
yeah, he had over like 300 sex toys, homemade ones. I could do a whole episode on him. Yeah, he smiles in his mugshot.
Wait, show me his fucking mugshot. That just filled me up with so much rage, just seeing that photo.
The only reason he was caught was because one of the girls, because his girlfriend's a fucking idiot. Thank God his girlfriend's an idiot. And she escaped. One of the sex workers escaped because his girlfriend's an idiot.
I thought you meant the girlfriend escaped, and I was like,
Oh.
do we want to go to mine since
Wait,
we're
what
talking
is
about Jack
girlfriend?
the Ripper?
Yeah.
Okay. So, keep in mind, we can make fun of this, and we should make fun of this. Herman Webster Mudgett.
Which is such a funny name, so fuck you, you piece of shit.
Yeah, you deserve a name like Herman Webster
Like, what
Mudgett.
kind of name is that, you stupid fuck?
Fuck
you in the
Maybe that's why he
afterlife.
killed people. No, he actually like gave
Fuck you in the
excuses
afterlife.
for why he's fucked up. But he was born
Mine
May
is too.
16th in 1861. So 1800s, his family was obviously very religious, and they were farmers, and he was the middle child. I think he was the third out of, you can't see it. He was the third out of 5 kids, I think. So he was the middle child in New
Literally.
Hampshire. There is. I heard one person say that himself said that he was born with the devil in him. Like, he said that.
Sure.
I'm like, okay, sure.
Oh hell no!
Herman was he like, if you look back on his past, you wouldn't think anything of it. He was a mama's boy who liked to read, and he was bullied.
I hope so.
At 5, he was at the doctor's, and he actually like gives this as like an excuse to why he fucking kills people. But
You
he
don't
was at
get
the
any
doctor's, and as mean 5-year-old boys do, some like stop that. Some like mean kids locked him in a closet at the hospital when he was 5, and so it had like skeletons and shit in it. And obviously, like, that is very scary for a 5-year-old, but not an excuse to go around.
It does.
People.
He is under 10, and I know. Traumatizing things.
I literally wrote down
Sometimes.
he was locked in a closet in the doctor's. Boo-hoo.
Why
his-
bought it, man?
And I don't know what age this was. I don't think it's specified. It might have been around 7. But his best friend, they were like fooling around on the roof, and his best friend just fell and died in front of him, which like was
What
probably
age?
his introduction. I think it was around like 7, which was probably
Yeah,
like his
still under
introduction to
10.
death.
Well, you
Um,
can also feel bad for the kid, but say fuck you to the adult.
Yeah, like, would you
That's-
kill baby
yes,
Hitler?
I feel bad for that kid. But obviously the kid. But obviously the kid saw something in that body that he was like,
When he got a little older, he became a teacher when he was 16. Like, all of this stuff, if you look back on his past, you're like, well, this guy couldn't have been that bad, right? Like, he became a teacher. He got married to a girl named Clara in 1878, and they had a baby in February of 1980. So a lot of people think that he didn't marry her for love. He married her because she was pregnant, and, 1800s.
It was socially unacceptable to have a child out of wedlock, too.
Yeah. And then I think he quit being a teacher and became an apprentice to a doctor, which I'm thinking is where it all started to go wrong. And then he left his wife and his baby to move to Vermont and study medicine.
Which, fuck you for leaving your wife and
Yeah,
kids.
like, knock that off. To study to study
fuck
medicine.
you for leaving
And
your kid.
also,
Knock
he
down.
like when he moved to Vermont and started like at this school to learn about medicine and stuff, he told his roommate, like, I'm married, but can we like keep it on the down low? Like, I don't want people to know I'm married already. Like, but while he's studying medicine, he started like learning how to dissect people. And for one of his classes, he like his roommate was told the landlady like, I didn't sleep very well last night. There was like a really horrible smell in our room. I just couldn't sleep. And the landlady was like concerned because his roommate like looked like he had seen a ghost. So the landlady goes up to like clean or whatever, and she notices the really bad smell too. And then she sees something sticking out from under the bed. And it was a baby. He had brought a baby, a dead baby, and shoved it under his bed so that he could
Not
like
his?
study it. No, not his, but
Thank
like
God.
for class. He had a dead baby under his bed. I think that was the only dead baby he had under his bed. Thank God. But probably not the only baby he's killed, honestly, because he is thought to killed like over 200 people.
Low-key, this is gonna sound so shitty to say, but I'm so glad it wasn't his baby. Like I'm so thankful that the baby that was found was already deceased when it was like
Yeah.
he didn't knowing like actively murder the baby.
Yeah. But also, like, it's so messed up to want to bring that home. Anybody who sees a dead baby would just be devastated. Even if it was like the early 1900s, you're still super sad to see a baby. Like, it happens all the time, but it's still upsetting. Moving on to the murder castle. I don't know much in between that. A lot of people probably heard about the murder castle, and this quote was from the lady you were talking about, murder makeup on Mondays, whatever. Some say the murder castle was as distorted as his mind, with chimneys sticking out where chimneys shouldn't be, stairways that lead to nothing. Some rooms didn't have vents in them. Some rooms have blocks on the outside. So he built this for the World Fair, I think.
Yes.
Very specifically for that, to lure people in and kill them. Which also why I think he's Jack the Ripper, because he studied dissecting people, and Jack the Ripper
was very meaningful about his murder.
like very specifically like cut out their organs.
Oh, wait, did you already talk about Chuck?
A little bit, but not very much. Yeah,
Okay, so this is all him.
Yes, a lot of people. His great grandson, so Herman Webster Mudgett's great grandson, started like looking into him because your great granddad's a serial killer. You want to look into it, and he actually traveled to the place in I forgot where it took place, like Britain, where Jack the Ripper like was present for the times he was present, and that makes a lot of sense. Like a serial killer who knows how to dissect people is in town the same week a serial killer starts dissecting people.
Yeah, no, I think they're definitely the same people. Because how does that just coincidentally happen? And then all of a sudden he goes back and they're gone? Like, no.
Yeah.
Like that's the most actual, like, thought-provoking one I've ever seen.
So at the murder castle, he would trap people in their rooms till they starved to death. He would push poison through the vents. He would trap people in the rooms with no vents till they suffocated to death. He was just doing horrible things. Like, some people say he had like actual torture instruments, but some people also say it was kind of just like knives on an old table. He would bury people alive in the basement. He had a hanging room where he would just hang people. And that's why, like, it's fun.
She peed herself. Microphones are crap. I have to repeat the story because the microphone shut
From
off.
the hanging.
So, they had a hanging room. Super sad. Boo hoo. Really is super sad.
Holy shit.
He burned down part of his mansion to get the insurance. And then the top 2 stories burned down from 2 random kids who just broke in and burned it down. The first story is still there, and in current day is a USPS post office. Okay, AJ, let's move on.
I'm sorry
that
I
it for
peed
your
myself,
story?
guys. It was an accident.
Oh, yeah,
We were, because the microphones are blinking, and then I was like, I don't think that's gonna, I'm worried about the audio. And then she's over here trying to play, and she goes, I'm gonna pee right now! And she goes in, and she comes back with different pants, and she goes, that was the greatest time I could have peed myself.
Yeah, because we had to end the video to figure out what the fuck the microphones are doing. But,
Setting them back.
watch it actually work and we're like talking to them like this close.
I turned mine
It's
off
not plugged in.
completely.
Yeah, it's off.
I don't even know.
Yeah, it's not plugging in or anything.
Okay.
Was that the end of your
yes,
story?
that's the end of my story. It's
Okay.
a USPS post office. Oh, he was hung to death
What about
May
Jack the
7th,
Ripper?
18th.
Did you want to talk about him?
I did. 18th, 96. This is Jack the Ripper. He's the same guy. A lot of people believe, at least. I don't think it's
absolutely.
been confirmed.
I would also like to point out that I am, in fact, wearing pants. I will show you.
She did that on purpose, guys.
It just doesn't look like it.
Like, are you tonguing in the mic? Like, it does fucking something, doesn't it? Okay,
I'm
so I have like
so
35
sad.
minutes.
John, you can do it.
Maybe. John Wayne Gacy, yeah. Known as America's worst serial killer. I don't really think that's true, but
I
What
think there's maybe at least one
Yeah.
worse than him.
he did some pretty fucked up things. Born March 17th, 1942 in Chicago, Illinois. Died May 10th, 1994 at 52 years old at Stateville Correctional Center. Crestale. I don't know what that is. He had 2 kids, Michael Grace. Nope, not even Grace. Gace. I'm fucking up his name, but I don't fucking care. But this is
Gace.
also for his kid, so
His kid's innocent, if we were wondering.
I think.
Oh.
I don't really think there's anything to it, but because I didn't get to look up that part, but you never know. His last words were strange. Not really strange, but anyways, Christine Gacy. He went to. I'll bet you drinking. He went to Cooley.
You might have to speak a little bit louder.
Yell.
Northwestern. My microphone keeps taking off. I'm not sure I'm going to say that right now. Barry Boschel. I don't really know how to say his last name.
Boschel?
Bashawi, I think.
Boschelli.
That's what it looks like.
Sorry for the last name.
Boschelli.
This dude isn't bad. Or, yeah, no, he's his friend. Talks about growing up with evil John Wayne Gacy.
We
Gace.
can just call him John.
John. Yeah, John Wayne or something. The time
Oh,
was.
bitch! Look at that shit!
Oh, bitch! Look at that shit! The time was the 50s. He was short and his hair was slicked back. His shoes were scuffed. What is your name? I asked. He looked at me and said, my name is John Wayne John. We shook hands right at the moment. Sir, there's no doubt I knew that he was different from anyone I had ever met. So says Barry, the childhood friend of one of the most dangerous and psychotic men to ever walk the planet. Again, I don't think that's true,
There's
but
been a lot of crazy men.
yeah.
Men, specifically, are fucking bonkers. Bitches be bonkers, though, too.
Just be bonkers.
your bitch be bonkers.
My bitch? I don't have bitches.
No, your bitch you read.
Lizzie is fucking
Lizzie
crazy
is a
town.
fucking bitch bonker. I was asked by Anchor Bay to do this interview in promotion of its latest film, a reality-based look at the last known relationship Gacy ever had with a young student named Jason Moss, who also went on to write his own book about his experiences entitled The Last Victim. I'm always ready to jump into an interview, but this time I was a little perplexed. I don't know why that took me so.
doesn't know how to read.
I don't guys.
Mom, I can't
What?
read.
What in the world did I say to this man? So your friend was a closeted homosexual who killed 33 young men to hide his own self-imposed sense of shame and ego.
Which is crazy. 33, can you believe that?
How can
And
you get
one
33
victim,
men,
I
honestly?
believe, escaped. One is alive, and he wrote his own book. What was he really like? Little did I know I wouldn't have to say much at all, because Bobby had quite a tale to tell. What the fuck?
What a deal.
I looked into it. I looked into his eyes when we were kids, and I saw sadness. But Bobby, it's his last name, but I don't want to say it. Continue. What a lot of people don't know about Johnny, only I could call him that, was that he was an extremely talented singer.
Only I can
It was
call him.
Christmas time
As you should.
in the 1950s, and we'd go trucking through the snow. Our neighbors would invite us in, and I'd say, "Ladies and gentlemen, John Wayne Gacy will now sing Oh Holy Night." When he poured it out, I can't tell you the effect it had. I was there. I was lucky to be there. People would cry. He would touch and affect them mentally and
He would touch people?
with his voice at 9 years old, guys.
He would touch and infect them.
My father knew a lot of people downtown at the time, and he was very political active with the mayor and could have easily helped Johnny into his show business. But I didn't get along with my dad, so I couldn't ask him for favors. If I could have, though, one of my favors would have been, Dad, could you get Johnny into show business and get him to where he has to go? I've always told myself this, and maybe I shouldn't hurt myself this way. I'm sorry, that's one of my regrets. Even if my father would have screamed and yelled at me, I should have pushed it at least. I would have tried. Things could have ended differently. While I didn't, I was scared of my father, scared to death.
Oh my
So,
God.
it's so upsetting that his father was abusive.
So this one's his friend. But John's father was abusive.
Which is upsetting.
Men.
Yeah, the mom,
Men upset me.
mom goes against her son.
I can also say.
She's also a faggot. However, if age starts to say
Um,
faggot, punch her on the forehead in public.
Anyways. The mom went against him, or, like, spoke in the court and, like, blamed it on the father. We'll get that later.
Yeah, good riddance to you two, bitch.
The years went by and I parted with Johnny in 1959. I was 18, he was 17. Johnny and I went down the path together. He went one way, I went the other. The friend painfully adds. During their time apart, Gacy was arrested for a young man. A young man.
Oh.
Served 18 months in prison. Then in 1976, Gacy came back into the friend's life. They argued a bit and again parted ways. During that time, it's actually like a huge space in the thing I found. I don't know why.
Oh, so because they didn't want to, like, open the whole story.
Johnny sure did his thing. It was terrible, unbelievable, incredible. I don't understand that part. I have a hard time to this very day, even after all these years. Did he really? Look what he did. I can't. It's just hard. I knew him when he was 8 years old. These actions were not him then. He just wasn't capable of it. One day, when we were hanging out a few years later, a swing accidentally knocked him across the forehead. He fell to the ground unconscious. 15 or 20 of us had to carry him home.
He had to have been a big
In a
bitch.
wagon. I didn't see him again for about a week. When I finally did, he was different. He was not the same no more. He's very nervous. He'd be snapping his fingers all the time. It just wasn't the same anymore. I knew then things are starting to change now.
It's always a head injury. Always.
Yeah. The friend continues. One day in 1978, I came home to a note from my stepmother that read, "Call John Gacy." At this point, Johnny and I had really drifted apart, but I called him. I was shaking like a leaf. My friend and I didn't know why. John asked, "Would you do me a favor? Would you come to my house?" I drove out to Johnny's house, and the first thing I noticed was the smell. Oh my, I'll never forget that. I can't understand how his wife, whom he lived with for so long, never caught on. She was such a clean person. How did Johnny get by with the smell? I guess, like he did with me. Johnny, what is that smell? My sewer broke. That's what he convinced everybody of. His sewer was always broken. It was that overflow, you know? No, it wasn't. It was bodies laying underneath his house, rotting. We all didn't know that then, of course. So what happens? I go there and it's so what happened? Question mark. I go there and we talk. Would you do me a favor? He asked again.
Continue.
Would you try these handcuffs on? I said. Johnny, would you do me a favor? Would you get me a glass of water, please? And that's what he did. I had a hard time getting my feet to move. My body was literally shaking. I started to run and I ran into one of his walls and fell on the floor. Sorry, that's not funny.
Oh my
but it is.
gosh.
I got up and I didn't see him coming after me, so I figured that I was okay. I grabbed my car keys and I ran like hell. I got in the car and had the window down and I was gunning the car. I saw Johnny and his fist up in the air and he yelled out, "I'm gonna murder you." I left a nervous wreck. 2 weeks later, Johnny had been arrested and, well, you know the rest.
Actually, I don't.
There's a lot more to Bobby's story, really, that's just a taste of it. It's like a whole other thing.
Wait,
It's
so
just
he was
telling
like, "Will you do me a favor? Will you try these handcuffs on?"
you. Yeah.
No. If anyone ever asks you to try handcuffs on, run the fucking other way.
To his friend that he's known since he was 8. That they did drift apart, but that's
Either
weird.
way, that's still a fucking victim. And that's
That's-
devastating. You drink a fuck ton of that water.
She's thirsty girl.
Thirsty bitch.
I'm just
I'm
dehydrated.
thirsty.
I'm always dehydrated until I have water in front of me.
Yeah, solid. Meet John's parents. It's his old name, but we're not gonna do that.
John.
No. During I know I saw that.
Go
when
for it.
she was going, you were like staring.
Helloing all over the place.
During
Go for
John's
it.
trial, it was revealed that his traumatic childhood may have factored into his later crime behavior. No. Specifically, the abuse he faced from his father, John Stanley Gacy. Dr. Richard Rappert.
Richard Ramirez is also a serial killer. In case you were wondering.
For
Oh.
I know that word and I know I can say it.
Psychotic?
Psychiatrist who worked on Johnny's trial argued that Johnny instantly was the result of his father's action. He had sorry guys. Psychotic episodes that state he was in. When he was doing the murders, he went into the episodes of insanity. When it was with a situation that... What are you doing?
Gathering my shit.
The relationship he had with his father. And he was sane enough in between these episodes to cover up his behavior, says his father in conversation.
I don't think he was insane.
Gacy?
Yeah.
Or his dad?
I feel like there's a very thin line.
Below, what to know about... With the killer below. What to know about Gacy's parents, John and Maron, and how their treatment of Gacy may have affected his behavior. Him and his dad. I put these into sections. John Stanley Gacy, Stacy, what the fuck, was a World War I veteran and an auto maniac. I mean, yeah, he was
Auto
a maniac.
Mechanic.
Mechanic. His wife, Maren Eleni Robertson, gave birth to their son on March 17th, 1942 in Chicago, Illinois. During John's upbringing, John it's S-R, I'm just gonna say John, the dad.
John Senior.
John Sr. was physically and verbally abusive. Guys, I can't
Verbally?
read. No, I'm just reading too fast, that's the thing. And often compared his son unfavorably to his sisters, calling him a sissy and other queer-coded projectives. Per Tim Kelly's book, Buried Dreams, Inside the Man of a Serial Killer. When Gacy was molested by a family friend in 1949, He didn't tell his father in fear that he would be blamed himself, according to 1992 Time Life publication. The father argued. Yeah. The father argued that Gacy recreated dramatic moments from his childhood through his murders. His father essentially victimized him in the basement of his own home as he was growing up. John tried to reproduce that behavior with his victims, and also these dead bodies he put in the basement was like himself being buried by his father, he said. But despite the abuse, John still respected his father. In a 1994 interview with The New Yorker, John defended John Sr., saying he never hated his father and called him a strong man. However, he confirmed that the two weren't close. I thought I could never please him, but I still love him, John said. Later, he added, the media made an image out of him like he was an alcoholic monster. My dad drank. He was crazy when he drank. That's just the definition of that. He came up with the basement, up from the basement, and said the walls were pink. You said the walls were pink, but you learned to stay away from him and keep your mouth shut at the dinner table. I don't know what the walls pink mean.
I think he was doing hard drugs, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Oop. On Christmas Day, 1969, John Sr. passed away while John was in prison.
That's so devastating, though. Like to die on Christmas. How pissed.
Oh, that's true.
John wasn't informed about his father's death until after he was buried. My way to remember my dad is not to be like him. He also told The New Yorker, that's my way of getting back at the son of a bitch. Okay.
Not to be like him, but you already murdered a bunch of people and you are already in prison.
And molesting people. Mind you, kids. Young men. Young men. You're literally becoming your father.
Mm-hmm.
Him and his mom's relationship. Conversations with the killer also recounts Gacy's close relationship with his mother, Miriam. Following his parole,
I think it's
June,
Miriam.
Miriam. Yeah. His parole in June 1970. Gacy moved in with his mother. As he readjusted to society, per The New Yorker. Marion helped her son come up with the acronym for his part-time construction business, PDM. Contractors for painting, decorating, and maintenance. However, there was also conflicts at times. This series recounts how he'd try on his mother's underwear.
What?
Yeah. And when she caught him, he was reprimanded. She made me wear the underwear. It's in like little things, and she punished me with it. Gacy says in his confession tape, she said if I ever get caught with it again, she'd make me go down the street with it on. In the fourth week of Gacy's trial, his mother testified that her son was repeatedly beaten and abused by John Sr. in his childhood. Mother was a good witness, Gacy says in the tips. Marion died in 1989, less than 5 years before Gacy's execution. John Wayne. I don't know if this is really his whole story because I really had to dig in to find his whole story.
It's hard
Because
to
I
find his
couldn't-
story.
Because I couldn't watch the documentary in time because I was at work and then I had 2 hours. On the surface, John Wayne Gacy seemed a cornerstone of his stubborn Chicago community in the 1970s. Gregorius and Boastful, he was known for running... Boastful.
Boastful.
B-O... What the fuck ever. He was known for running a successful construction business. His involvement in a local
Politics.
Shut up! And essentially for entertaining young children at parades.
Ew.
That dropped. And his hospital as a jolly clown, Pogo. However, There were troubling signs behind the makeup. For those who bothered to look, from the coming and going of young men from his home at all hours of the night, to the usual odor that were made from the I didn't
Broken
even read this,
sewer.
guys. Yeah, broken sewer. Bowls of the house. To his conviction for sexual offense with a minor that nobody seemed to know about. When the horrific truth finally came out, the neighbors were shocked to learn that their once friendly neighbor was masking the impulsives that made him once the most
Prolific.
serial killer in history. Shut the fuck up, guys. And the image of the clown as a happy, beloved entertainer would never become the same Gacy as a restaurant manager and a father of two in Waterloo. That's not what that is. Sees his family man image shattered. When two high school boys described to the authorities how he served them alcohol, forced them to watch pornographic films, sexual contact. One also claims that Gacy attempted to strangle him. He hired a high school to keep one of the boys silent. A move that backfires. And that's the end of that story because he's nothing. December 3rd, 1968, Gacy is sentenced to 10 years behind bars. 1 month after pleading guilty to sodomy.
It's a hard wordage.
John earns a 10-year prison sentence. The strict punishment meant to serve as a further deterrent.
Determined?
Determinant.
Where is it?
Right there.
Deterrent.
Whatever. To his preying on teenage boys. Preying. As in, bless. Teenage boys. June 18th, 1970, Gacy's granted parole. Reportedly as well-behaved prisoner. Ew! Well-behaved prisoner. You let. It's your fault. John is allowed to leave the state after just 18 months. Out of 10 years, he got to leave out of 18 months. Guys, I'm reading this as well. I didn't read this before, and I was too long. Divorced from his wife and his abusive father, now deceased, he moves to his hometown of Chicago to live with his mother. February 12th, 1971. I thought I just read that wrong, but that's no way. It's numbers. John again draws the attention of authorities. Teenage boys tell Chicago police that John picked him up from a bus station and tried to force him into having sex. The charges are dropped when the boy fails to show up to testify in court. The incident seemingly escapes notice from the parole board. August 1971, the businessman settles in a new home. Leading a larger space to operate his new construction business, PDM Contractors, John and his mother move into a house at 82. There's an address. I'm not sure if that. I mean, it's on the public anyways. 8213 West Summerdale Avenue in Norwood Park Township. Guys, if someone lives there, I didn't do it. January 3rd, 1972. John kills his first victim. Returning to the bus station, John picks up his first known murder victim, later identified as Timothy McCoy. After bringing the teenager home, where they drank and engaged in sexual acts, John stabs him to death and buries him in a crawl space. You know, I asked how he killed them, and it always says strangling.
Strangling and stabbing was his big two.
July 1st, 1972.
Very good.
John gets hitched again.
He gets married.
John marries Carol Hoof. Hoof or Hoof? Or Ho. A childhood friend. She notices strange smell coming from the crawl space, but her husband blames it on the runoff from a sewer pipe and attempts to.
Where have we heard that before?
Can we just disintegrate it with
Let's
water?
just-
Oh yeah! Yeah! And lime in the area. Well, they do that. They go, oh yeah! Yeah! July 31st, 1975. A young associate of John's goes missing. One of the many young men and teenagers hired for PDM contractors disappears after a heated confrontation with John over unpaid wages. His car is found near his parents' home the following day with the key in the engine. John is later identified as John Gacy's third murder victim.
We think he has more.
I think a hell of a lot more.
Oh, no.
January 1976, police. You know what that? See, I didn't read this, but I thought they got to like half the murderers by now. But they got to the third murderer, and they stake out at John's home. The complaints beginning to pile up. Police camp out at his home after a 9-year-old boy prostitute is reported missing.
It's so sad that a 9-year-old is a prostitute.
Attempts to question the young men coming and going from the house failed to uncover any relevant evidence. March 2nd, 1976, John divorces his second wife. Is there more? Like Lizzie with her husband? Already living alone, Gacy has his separation from Carol formalized with their divorce. During this time, he begins appearing more frequently around town, as his alter ego Pogo the Clown also picks up the pace on his murderer's spree, claiming another 24 victims from April 1976 through the end of 1977. He killed another 24
That's
in about 2 years.
24, roughly.
March 21st, 1978. John attacks a man in his car. After luring Jeff Ringel to his car with an offer to smoke marijuana, Gacy no. Oh. Substitutes the 26-year-old with a chloroform-soaked rag. Tortures and him at his home, and then dumps him out in the park. What's his first name? Jeff, who accepts $3,000 to settle the legal charges, goes on a recount to experience in his book 29 Below. A lot of people wrote books about this dude, and I need to read them. December 11th, 1978, John's final murder victim puts police to his trial. When a 15-year-old Robert Piest goes missing after telling his mom he intends to see someone about a high school paying job. Police follow the trail of witnesses to Gacy's home, unlike many of the other runaways and dropouts who wound up in Gacy's clutches in the middle of the night. Robert is a popular high school student with strong ties in the community. Gacy's lawyer later theorizes that his client began getting more careless about his killings and the hope of getting caught.
BS. Also, they tend to pick like low life sex workers because they don't have any family and nobody cares. That's why they tend to pick those. Jesus Christ.
After initially stalling, Gacy submits to questioning at the Diaz Plains police station and hands over the keys to his home. When investigators find a receipt linked to Pius, Gacy is put around the clock service lights.
So true.
Yeah. December 20th, 1978. Gacy reveals his crimes to his lawyer. Woo! After a week of being followed in, Gacy admits to his new lawyer, Sam, don't fucking care about last names anymore, that he had tortured and killed at least 30 young men. An investigation officer later recalled the horrified lawyer's instructions to him: don't let Gacy leave. Told that to the police. December 21st and 22nd, 1978, Gacy is arrested, leading to his confession. Gacy is apprehended when seen handing a bag of marijuana to a gas station clerk, prompting another home search that reveals the first discovery of human remains. The following day, the suspect delivers a rambling statement to the police in which, why did you swallow like that? In which he confessed to killing more. Ooh, yeah, he killed more. Into killing more than 30 young men and boys, with most buried in his crawl space and the rest thrown into Diaz Plains River. Though Gacy later attempts to retract his confession. Dumb bitch. You can't do that.
Especially after they already found that shit.
Yeah.
Like,
they
what
found
happened? Like, you just happened
What they do?
to
My wife
buy
did
a
it.
home with fucking bodies?
Over the next several weeks, investigators would underneath the remains.
Unearthed.
Yeah, I saw that right after I said it. Unearthed the remains of 29 bodies on Gacy's property, and another 4 in rivers southeast of Chicago, which is the Diaz. Yeah. April 23rd, 1979. Gacy is indicated for a total of 33 murders. After being charged with 7 murders in early January 1979, Gacy's indicated, I literally just said that, for another 26 by a grand jury, the total representing the largest number of charged to the person in American history. Headshots of some of Gacy's victims. Trial begins. Ooh, wish we had more time. The 5-week-long trial features the gut-wrenching testimony of one of the boys who vomits on the stand after recalling the tortures indicated on him. March 12, 1980. Gacy is convicted. The jury takes just 1 hour and 50 minutes to find Gacy guilty of the murders. The following day, the same jury takes 2 hours and 15 minutes to impose the death penalty, drawing applause from onlookers. Afterward, Judge Lewis B. thanks the jury, noting whatever the cost of the trial, it was a small price. What we do for John Gacy's of this world, we will do for everyone. May 10th, 1994, Gacy's executed. His last second attempts at staying of execution squashed. Gacy is transferred to Illinois' Stateville Correction Center, where he is reported to be in a chatty mood and enjoys a last meal of fried chicken, shrimp, fries, and strawberries. After delivering a final statement on behalf of his innocence, the 52-year-old is put to death just after midnight by lethal injection. John's last words. In an attempt to quell her fears, his daughter, he's talking to his daughter, and this, she asked him if he recognized her, and his response was as tender as anyone could have expected Wayne to be. John, of course I know who you are. You're my girl. I love you. These would be Wayne's final words to his daughter, and offer up a new viewpoint on the kind of man John was.
Still a piece of shit. if you're watching this from the afterlife.
Also, John was buried unmarked. His family wanted his resting place to not turn into you just read it because I'm not.
His family wanted his final resting place to be not to be turned into an extravagant shrine.
And 29 bodies found under John Wayne's house, and 4 more near Diaz River.
Bye guys! I hope you enjoyed our video. Please like and subscribe.